Okay, that comes to the next portion of our meetings, audience participation. Please step up. We actually have a microphone and some cameras here today. Give your name and address. Council rule limits each speaker to 5 minutes and each subject to 15. And with a full house tonight, this will be enforced to give everybody a fair shake to speak. Mr. Trutzel will be my timekeeper. He'll give you a few warnings, and then at 5 minutes, I'll give you the nod and respect, like I said, the views of the rest of the folks. Everybody has a fair chance to speak. Please limit yourself to the 5 minutes. The floor is yours, Joe.
Thank you, President Reinhardt. My name is Joe Sharp. I live at 559 North High Street, Chillicothe, Ohio. Here to speak about item 2, the clandestine drug lab legislation. I too am against drugs. This legislation is not going to deter drug use. It's not going to stop people from using meth. It's not going to stop people from making meth. It doesn't say that if the meth lab's found, you're going to put them in prison or what you're going to do to them. It says you're going to make the landlord pay more money. So I don't think that that's right. And if it's about, I keep hearing it's about the long-term effects these chemicals may have. Well, I would argue that cigarette smoke in a house is a bad chemical for our citizens to be forced to live with. And I know that Mrs. Patrick is a property owner and a landlord in this town, and I believe she owns a building that used to be a dry cleaning facility. And I wonder, and I hope that she's had that tested, because dry cleaning facilities are one of the top 3 contaminated. And you talk about long-term chemical contamination, I hope that she's had that property screened, tested, and abated for the safety of our community. Because heaven forbid if someone's in there, who knows what they could be getting from that. That's just examples of many things that can contaminate a house. This law isn't fighting drugs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp.
My name is William Barnhart. I live at 373 McKellar, and we have a health problem there. These are the paint chips that come off of 374 McKellar. I used to be a union laborer. I was in lead abatement, so they always told me with the paint curls, good chance it's got lead in it. So I called my councilwoman, Pat Patrick. She called the city man. He said he couldn't do much because the bank owns it. They said about the best they can do is get them to mow the grass. So once my councilwoman told me that, I called the high EPA. They told me to get in touch with the Ross County Board of Health. I got in touch with them. They almost acted like they wanted me to pay to have it certified, tested to make sure it was lead. But they said that they was going to treat it as it was lead, but they sent a letter to Martin, who used to own it, and they said they were going to wait up to 2 weeks. That's a long time. I mean, it's already, I seen the lead paint. I just walked on the sidewalks. Lead paints in 357 McKellar, 364, 369, 370, 373, 374, the house that's got it, 376, 378, 377, and 379. I didn't even go. He lived, that house on the south side of the street. I didn't even go in the backyard to see how much blows, seeing as how the wind usually comes out of the north in the winter time. So I got me a lead testing kit. I guess the Ross County Board of Health can't afford them. But it tested, there's 2 test kits in there. They both tested positive for lead. It's starting to get warm, and the people most susceptible to lead poisoning is young kids. The warmer it gets, the more they're going to be out. There's 10 houses on McKellar Street that's got lead paint chips in. So I'm asking the council and mayor to do something about it.
Thank you, Mr. Barnhart. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
I'm Tammy Spillworth. We live on 299 South Hickory Street. I asked him to step up here with me because I get nervous.
That's okay, nothing to be nervous about except the cameras.
Yeah.
Lighten the mood here a little bit.
Here this evening, just to kind of ask city council to clear up some questions we have with this Chillicothe Tree Commission. We're getting mixed signals from different departments in the city. I guess the main thing is this mandatory participation in this as a homeowner, or can we opt out?
Well, it's already been planned, organized, and in the works, and it's already been placed in the newspaper, on radio, and nobody came to our doors, nobody came and asked us, do you want a tree planted on your property? We had $3,500 worth of sewer damage due to root systems last year. I mean, it's been in the works, and then we have the damage and the replacement cost of our sewer lines. And we find markings on the property that states that's where they're gonna plant these trees. Some of them are not even proportioned to the property. They're on the property line, not in front of their home. Okay, I think that's gonna take away from the appeal, the curbside value of your home.
From an environmental standpoint, I can understand why we would want to put trees, and from a beauty standpoint, to a degree. So I'll go that route. But some homeowners, okay, you've got elderly homeowners, okay, that's gonna force them to rake leaves, take care of branches, clean up bird droppings, stuff like this. And then you have, like she said, the issues with sidewalk damage, sewer line damage, utility damage. I mean, goodness, look right outside your front door here, and look how the trees have hooved up the gratings and stuff around, that was put around the trees.
Well, they
25
said that
years ago.
they're the wrong kind of trees. Well, they're wanting to put tall, from their press release that was given to the city of Chillicothe from the tree commissioners, they're wanting to put tall trees for tall spaces, okay? We live there across the Flatfellow parking lot, right across the street from it. Okay, you wanna put tall trees in there to fill the spaces. Well, what are tall trees gonna have? Large roots. Some of these placements that are marked, potential placements, are right by water and sewage lines.
Granted, this is, we realize that this is city easement per se, but yet the homeowner's still responsible. That goes for the sidewalks, that goes for everything else that's in there. We're still responsible monetarily, labor, whatever. I just, for myself, I don't want to go through this. I don't want the damage, I don't want the potential damage, I don't want the extra work. I don't want the bird droppings all over the sidewalk. So I would just like for city council just to, is this mandatory? Or
Well,
can
and
we
another
opt out?
issue, you're talking about an area that there's low-income people there, there's middle-class people there. If something happens because of the root system, people don't have the money to replace this. We're in an economy now, we can't afford this.
A lot of folks can't. A lot of folks can't. We're fortunate. There's a lot of folks who can't afford it. That'd be a devastating sight.
And I've got a landlord on this side and a landlord on this side of us, and they are totally against it. We've got several neighbors here.
So please,
She's just gone through sewage problems right now in the last month.
so could city council iron something down for us?
As the mayor, I will reel the tree commission back in on this.
We appreciate
We'll
it.
set this back on its heels and get some open discussion. I was unaware that the property owners were not consulted on this.
Not until Friday night when we were out petitioning,
Well,
then
some-
some of the, volunteers showed up,
The marks have already been put on the
never
ground
contacted us.
as to where these are gonna be. And granted, it's voluntary, the people that's doing it are volunteers. bless their hearts. But if nobody comes back and says, oh, by the way, they didn't want that tree there, the volunteer folks, they ain't gonna know.
Right.
They're just gonna,
Interrupted for 5 minutes, you're up.
Okay.
that's
Now,
fine.
I will also tell you that the tree commission meets on the third Tuesday each month at 5 o'clock across the street. Third Tuesday each month across the street, tree commission meets. You can go directly to them if you want to, but the mayor.
I would suggest that, that's a good idea, Tom.
Well, I've made phone calls and talked to Mr. Penner. He was supposed
Thank
to
you,
get back
council
with
members,
me.
we appreciate it, thank you.
And thank you for bringing that to our attention. Thank you very much. Any other members of our vast, quite large audience wish to approach council?
Hi, my name's Rhonda Lurdy, RHONDA, LURT. And I live at 94 King Street, Chillicothe, Ohio. I know the meth lab thing is a big one, but the homeowners and stuff, and I too am a homeowner. But I also agree with them with it, mainly because I go out every day. Here's syringes, spoons, I pick up out of my yard every day. So we need, yeah, there is a problem. And yeah, I do also know around the neighborhood that some landlords, not all, do not do a very good job at screening their tenants. Some do, some don't. And I know there's things, there has to be a happy medium between screening your tenants, not discriminating against people, not judgment and laying all the blame on the homeowners. I understand that too. But there's also things a homeowner could do to make sure things are not being done out in the house. Also do like contracts and things that are redone, check background checks and the whole bit. But I'm for the, like I said, I'm a homeowner. I'd have to pay for it. Actually, I own a couple of properties, but I'm all for it. Something's gotta be done. Gotta crack down somewhere, cause we've got a lot of, what do you call, absent landlords who have no clue as to who is going into their homes or care what's going on in their homes. Some of them don't even live around here, so they don't know what's going on and what's around. Granted, our neighborhood's not the best. I have, not only that, I also wanted to know, this question I was thinking of while I was back here. Who's responsible for the cleanup in like metropolitan housing? Cause I know they've went down there, and there's a couple of meth labs that went on down there. Who's responsible for that? And who's responsible for absentee landlords? Sometimes you can never check them out, find out what's going on. So I understand that too, but there has to be a happy medium, because I have grandkids, I have great-grandnieces and stuff that play out in the yard, and I go out every day, especially now that the snow's melted and I can find it, but every day and pick up stuff like that. Bloody rags and needles and the whole bit. So, yeah, but there is a problem, one way or another, and that's all I'm gonna say. Now I'm gonna turn this into you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lurdy. Any other member of the audience wish to address council?
My name is Keith Richter. I live at 343 East Water Street. A couple of days ago, my neighbor across the street brought me over a piece of automobile chrome-plated antenna. It was burned and charred on each end. You know what that was? Crack pipe. In my neighborhood, across the street. I don't like that at all. Anyway, that wasn't what I was getting ready to say. I'm sitting on a mountain of investments. It's mostly paper, T-bills, savings accounts, mutual funds, and whatever else. Due to the downturn of the economy recently happening, my investments are all not that good. I got a statement today from one of my bank accounts. The APR is 0.08 interest. Okay? Not good. So I'm thinking about realigning my approach, formulating a new business plan. liquidating most of my holdings and going into the residential rental market. See the paper today, local housing market takes a slight tumble in February, so the prices of houses are down. So I ought to be able to buy a few houses at bargain basement prices. Maybe, we'll see. I did a little bit of mathematics to see out, what could be possible. So I assumed that if I get ownership of 100 rental properties, residential, apartments, whatever, and I can expect maybe $450 a month off of each of them. You take that times a full year, I could come into $540,000 income revenue stream from the rental. That ain't hay. It's a lot better than 0.08 interest return, APR. Now, to hedge my bets, I could get most of those houses probably signed up for a government-sponsored rental subsidy program. What that would do would eliminate me taking my time hiring an office staff to scan and write up rental agreements, lease agreements, and so forth, and interview prospective clients. So I could do away with the cost of that. The other thing, it would guarantee that the check would be in the mail on or around the first of the month for the subsidized portion of the rent. Okay? That's a win-win situation. Now, if it should happen that within that whole context, a few of my houses get meth labs, tenant, crack house operation, bordello with alcohol sweethearts in my neighborhoods, that would actually be a benefit because that would drive the property values down. And for the resident people who are owners and living in their houses there, they would become discouraged and want to sell out to get out of Dodge at any price, and I could buy those up at fraction on the assessed value. What I'm giving you is a primer, how to become a successful rich landlord in less than 10 easy steps. All of this was intended to be tongue-in-cheek, sick humor. But I ask you, is it a real reflection of reality? Maybe. That's up for you to decide. That's all. Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Richter. Any other member of the audience wish to address City Council?
Hi, my name's Nicole Learning.
I'm sorry, could I?
My name is Nicole Learning,
Thank you.
and I live on South Hickory Street. And I wanted to back up Tammy about the tree issue. Before I bought my house, and I lived there 4 years, the people that previously lived there, they had a lot of sewer problems, septic and stuff. Whoops. And and they put a lot of money into it, and I don't have a lot of money to put into it. So I'm asking you if you can, the mayor, to talk to them and stuff and see what we can have done. If some people want the trees, that's fine, but we ought to be able to opt out if we don't want them. Because where they marked them, it's real close to like where the lines are. And like I said, that house has already had problems before. So I'd like to get out of it if I could, because I already have a tree that's huge in the back that I'm getting ready to have taken down, and I just don't have the money to continue. So, thanks for listening.
Thank you for bringing those concerns forward. Any other member of the audience wish to address City Council?
Hi, my name is Cheney. I live at 1028 Lake Drive. I'd like to bring back up a point that the law director made earlier. The particles that are exposed in these labs are microscopic. they get everywhere. Anybody around here has had kids who get sick from mold or dust in vents. Imagine this on a much grander scale. Part of the problem with cleanup on these things, especially in flood damage, you get water where you can't see, and then it starts smoldering and festering. Same thing with these labs. If you don't have the education to clean these things up properly, you're not going to do it right. And then 5-10 years later, Chillicothe is going to have a problem. All right. It basically comes down simple as that. There's no way to guarantee that each individual landlord or property owner would do the exact same steps on a rental property that they would do on a property that their family is living in, unfortunately. But there's a lot of cleanup that has to go on to clean these things up. And the legislation is written to that effect. So I stand for that legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cheney.
My name's Catherine Levy. I live at 263 South Hickory, and I agree with Tammy. My husband and I've lived there for 15 years, and I don't have a tree, but I still had to put out $1,000 for sewer, and now they, right about a foot or so away from the pole, they've got the mark to where they're gonna put a tree. You know, trees are fine, but when you're older like we are, he has health problems, I have major health problems. We are not able to take care of the trees. We ought to be able to have some say of whether they have trees there or not. And it's common courtesy, really. You say we don't own the property, that little easement or whatever, but we have to pay all the upkeep. And I put out $1,000 in water sewage, not 5 years ago. And I don't have it to put it out. We are both on very limited incomes. That's all I've got to say, because I just don't think it's right that we own the property, we have to take care of it, but we have to take care of these trees that we're not able to. Thank you.
Thank you. And as the mayor reiterated, he will check in with the tree commission to look into that before any holes are dug. So, and again, thank the residents for bringing that forward. Any other members wish to? Absolutely, ma'am.
I Imv Madden at 272 South Hickory, and I just spent $1,800 water. Two men knocked at my door, and they said I had a water leak. And I let one come in. I knew I didn't have a water leak underneath my house because I have new gas and new water. It was from the street in. They turned it off for me. And in about 2 hours, Mr. Clemens came and started working on it, and I had water that night. I also have, the next day he came and he filled in the hole. But I still have, I in the house that has a beautiful 2-foot dirt in my yard. And anybody here that has a shovel and would like to help me this summer, I would appreciate it. I've got to clean up the yard. I worked 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. I swept the gutters. I cleaned up all the debris from Gladfelders. I cut off debris off the fences, but it's still a mess. And it is hard. I'm lucky. I had the money to pay for it. But some people don't. We have 2 people in our neighborhood that are in our 90s. And they can't do their yard work. My sister next door can't do hers. So I'm responsible for 2 yards. And we do try to keep our yards nice. But I wanted a tree taken out that was rotten on one side. I had the tree commission came down, I had somebody that was going to do it, I was turned down. They said it still had life. One day, there was a bunch of men out in front of my house, so I went out to see what they were. They were tree commissioners. And they were looking, and I said, I've been trying to have that tree taken down, but you turned me down. Well, about 2 weeks later, they called and Ben Steele said, oh, you can have your tree taken down. I said, oh, they're gonna pay for it? He said, no. I said, well, you come down and you take it down. And I said, the reason they want it taken down, they're gonna plant trees. I'm not opposed to trees, but I am opposed to anybody that does not come around and say, this is what we're going to do and what we plan for your street. People should have the option whether or not they want a tree. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Madden. Any other members of the audience wish to approach City Council? Absolutely. Floor is yours.
My name's Chris McCoy. I live at 1092 North Bridge Street, I think. I just moved, not positive. Apartment 112. Not as articulate as some, I apologize. Especially, I thank you for the great monologue. That was very good. I haven't had a lot of time to put my thoughts together. I was asked to come out in support of the landlords on the issue of the meth labs about 45 minutes ago. And there is crime, there is punishment, but it used to be that when there was a crime, the punishment went to the people that committed the crime. It doesn't make sense to me that the people that they're incidental to the issue of being punished. It doesn't seem fair. And I agree something has to be done. We've seen excellent examples. You have a bag of meth tools on the table and you have people going out with kids in the street. I understand that something has to be done, but the question of liberty demands that we ask, how inventive are we willing to become to appropriately address an issue? How inventive are we willing to become to preserve people's rights, to preserve their money? I mean, the Constitution talks about the right to property. I mean, and that's because it's a big part of our livelihoods. It's part of our life. If you don't have a livelihood, you don't have a life. If you've never lived in poverty before, you don't know. I lived in poverty a good portion of my life. When you're there, your life is, how can I survive, not how can I live? And so, and you don't see a business owner as somebody who's in poverty, but the more you stack on them, the harder it is for them to make their livelihood, the harder it is for them to live. So, freedom demands sacrifice. If we're going to be free, then we have to be willing to take the steps that it's going to be necessary for us to be free. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Any other members of the audience wish to address City Council?
My name is Jeannie Gustan, and I live at 446 Caroline Drive. My husband and I are 70 years old, and he's been self-employed all of our lives. And all the time that we've been together, occasionally we would find a piece of property that was run down, and we would buy it and fix it up ourselves. We've painted a lot, fixed a lot, driven a lot of nails. I've cleaned out a lot of really messy places. And we would fix them up and rent them, hoping that when we came to retirement age that the rental properties would keep us. That would be our income. We screen our tenants very carefully. I have never taken an illegal drug in my life, don't ever intend to. I'm very much against drugs. I see drugs destroy people. My only problem with this legislation is that I'm asked to bear the cost of it. And a lot of the costs that I see that are involved are things that are already taken care of with our tax dollars. Like the police coming to the place to
to rate it. If they find meth, then we're charged, as I understand, up to $5,000. And, if they found heroin, we wouldn't be charged. You know, if they found other things, we wouldn't be charged. It should be fair all the way around. I have hazardous materials in my garage. I have gasoline, you know, for lawnmowers and stuff like that. I have hazardous materials in my home. I know everybody is not careful to take care of things like this. I really want to see legislation to take care of meth houses and drugs. It seems like it's in every neighborhood in town now, and we really need to take care of it. But I do think that it's unfair to ask the landlord to bear the largest part of the cost of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Gustan. Any other members of the audience wish to approach city council?
Charles Cravens, Clay Street.
I'm sorry, Ed.
Charles Cravens, Clay Street. One thing that everybody is saying that the drugs are bad, we want to get rid of the drugs. That's not the problem. The problem is our laws are too lenient with what goes on. Other countries have laws that are a lot more, maybe what you call suitable, that if you're caught doing drugs, they kill you. If you sell drugs, they kill you. If you're caught transporting drugs, they kill you. It eliminates most of the problems. We've gotten so lenient through the years, starting back in the 70s. Oh no, you can't do that. That's against a right somewhere. And we kept peeling back layer after layer on what to do with people until now it's a slap on the hand and it's an insult. So if you want to fix the drugs, fix the laws. Thank you.
Good deal.
Thank you. Any other members of the audience wish to address city council? Okay, we'll go last call on that. Got a big group, want to make sure everybody has their say. Okay, we'll move forward.